On the show today, we get to sit down with the new Minister of SME, and he tells us how they're going to change the mindset of the entrepreneurs in the informal sector. We also get into issues of fashion. Did you know that the fashion industry contributes just slightly less than 50% of the global economy? But what is the percentage when it comes to Zambia? And we go to tech and innovation as we see the motor dealerships not only creating employment, but also entering the green climate change effects and how they're embracing it. And we get to talk to the ACCA. What are their budget expectations? This and more on the program. This is Strictly Business. My name is Judy Ngulube. We start off with our chat focus, if you've already seen. We sat down with the new Minister, Elias Mubanga, of the Small and Medium Enterprises Development. We want to get to understand how the ministry has plans infusing in the informal sector. The informal sector has created such a large portion of the startups, the entrepreneurs in our country. So how is the ministry just going to embrace this, and what policy direction are they going to take when it comes to the informal sector?
I went to look at the training college for cooperative in Baulen, and I told them that we want people in Baulen, in Kalingalinga, to go to that school, because we are also introducing our local languages. Even these people who haven't been to school to understand maybe the language I'm using now, we have a package for them. And this package, you can be there for maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, months, years, depending on what discipline are you carrying on. After you graduate, then that's when we'll give you empowerment. That's when we'll be able now. Empowerment, we have agencies that we are working with, those that will be able to give you empowerment. I toured CEEC. They are now under Ministry of Small and Medium Business. I toured their facility, Izon, beauty facility, where the plumbers, where the welders and the carpenters will go after they finish training. We have to do a mindset first. We have to teach our people to change our minds towards the business that are involved in. You know, there has been this kind of handouts syndrome. That's not our approach. We will not come and give you any empowerment, even in terms of money, without going through skill training. First and foremost, skill training. We will introduce colleges for those that are interested and those that are still doing business. They will have to go to some skills. We have trade schools, even those that were in the mines. We're talking with the Minister of Mines, try and look at the infrastructure of those training schools. And we will go and look for potential. The word potential, we have to examine and find out that these people, our youths, our women, there is potential to get engaged into business. That is where we begin. We put them into those colleges. Skill, of course, there will be in different sectors. This is small and medium business enterprise development. It is not just like trading, no. It's in all sectors. It will be farming, mining, trading, even for the craft certificates, especially those in like plumbers, carpenters, welders. It is very difficult now to get a godded welder here in Zambia. There's a gap between the engineers up where we are and the craft certificate, like the welders, proper plumbers, we have a problem in this country. For you to get a serious plumber right now, it's very, very difficult. Now, the skill training we are introducing is to help the country develop.
Our corporate news takes us to the Zambia Civil Aviation. As we all know, the Zambia Airlines will be coming back, but the top man, who is Mr. Gabriel Lesa, tells us that the national airline will have a level playing field. It will pay all the charges as any other airline, as well as getting into a very highly competitive, atmosphere. They will have to compete like any other airline. This is what he had to say.
There's supposed to be equity in the way players are treated, and the charges or any fees or taxes that they're supposed to pay should actually be equitable, so that there is a level playing field by everyone. Of course, it brings choice to the customers who are passengers and others, but it also brings possibilities, because I'm sure their offering will be different from others. So I think in terms of customer experience, there should be an improvement because of competition. But it also brings in possibilities in terms of connectivity, and I believe it should oil the economy. Any player, any airline that comes in, they need to meet the international standards, which are actually espoused within our documents and our law. And the Civil Aviation as a regulator ensures that the national airline meets and complies with the law and international standards. In this instance, we take them through what is called the Air Operator Certification process, and it's a 5-phase process, very rigorous, but it assures us that safety and security concerns that may arise will be well dealt with by the airline. When an airline truly meets the certification requirements, it means it's in a position to sustainably go and run as a going concern, but also to run safely and securely. From our perspective, we see a national airline as a serious enabler of economic, socio-economic development.
Our conversation went further and had a mix of, how the recovery of COVID-19 in terms of the aviation industry is also very dependent on some of the activities that we as a people in Zambia are doing. What activities are we doing? Are we complying to the ABCs of COVID-19? Because this is what will make the aviation industry recover.
It's been a difficult time of COVID, and we are hoping that with the things we are seeing, I think we are seeing a recovery in aviation, and we hope it can be sustainable. This is almost premised on the way Zambia is performing in terms of COVID, and like everyone has been saying, and like the health authorities and government have been mentioning, we hope everyone can take a cue and do what is necessary to ensure that COVID comes down. I think primarily the recovery and restart of aviation will be dependent on how well we manage COVID.
In terms of economic policy direction, we need to be in line with, the SDGs. I think I can't overstate the importance of that.
Our Biztainment segment gets us into the fashion industry. I mean, when you talk about fashion, it has to do with the arts, it has to do with the talent. And of course, this has been spoken about so many times, what potential the arts as well as the fashion industry has. I'll be talking to a fashion designer, and this time we'll be dwelling into the issue of fashion designing versus how much potential this has and what it can contribute to Zambia's economy. Globally, Just under 50% is a contribution. What about in Zambia? How far are we taking this? What are some of those loopholes that we need to close? So let's talk to the people who are in this industry. And I'm very glad that Kasongo Yumbe is a fashion designer who will be coming through and tell me about this in our statement. Kasongo Yumbe is a fashion designer. She comes through just to tell me what exactly is her fashion design passion. What is she going to be, how is she moving her talent, passion, and combining all this to make sure that it's earning her an income. And she also adds to the industry. Of course, we want to understand how this is also going to make sure that she's earning on revenue and also, who knows, employing some people. So glad you could come to business.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you being here. Let's start with this one. The fashion industry is vast and it's huge. What's your take, firstly, on a global scale, then just zeroing it down to Zambia?
Well, I feel like the fashion industry is basically a branch of the manufacturing industry. And in many countries, the GDP contribution, majority of it comes from tourism as well as manufacturing. So on a global scale, it's a very, very important business. And also on a local scale, it is a very important business.
All right. What does the business sense, where does the business sense start for you when you come to your fashion design process?
Well, for me, it's the advertising. I've got two. Right. So we'll say the advertising, because with the advertising, I'm trying to create a demand for my product and my service. So once I advertise on my social media platforms especially, if a client responds, then it's the initial conversation. Now I'm here to sell myself, to understand my client, to close a deal. So advertising and the initial conversation with my client, that's where it starts from. Because once I lose my client in an initial conversation, then I've lost the business. So I can't afford that. So you always have to engage, get to know your client, ask about what do you like to wear, when is your function, what kind of style are you in, and also advise them like, okay, I think this or that, or let's do this. And then when people feel more engaged in the conversation, the more you can sell your product or service.
And you know, when it comes to a career like yours, fashion design, it's a talent and it's a passion and it's an art. So having to combine that to strike a balance with the business, how easy is it for you? Is it very challenging?
Well, I feel like if you have a passion in your work, no matter what kind of business it is, it may be entrepreneurship like mine or your white collar job. If you have a business, if you have a passion, it's really easy to combine the two.
Want to tilt more to as long as I'm fulfilled, even if the money is not coming in, as long as I've got this passion and I feel fulfilled in terms of passion wise, even if the money doesn't come in.
Well, yes, if you have a passion, even if the money doesn't come in, you feel fulfilled because you're working, you're doing what you like the most. But then there's also a trick. Having a passion in a creative business like mine is very important because your creative juices have to flow. So if you have a passion, your creative juices flow, you're able to create a demand for your product and service. And the tricky part is once you create that demand, like let's say if I make, I see a fashion trend that's going on. So I make a couple of pieces, post them on my social media. I'm creating a demand for my product. But business is dry, nobody is booking. Then all of a sudden somebody says, oh, Kasongo can make this for me. And then now my demand has been caught, I now start supplying. So having passion with your business is very important because you create your own supply and address your own demand.
You said something when we just started our conversation of, you know, it's part of the manufacturing industry. Does this speak to, you know, the ripple effect? Does it speak to the value chain that the fashion industry has?
Definitely, it does.
In which way? Because someone would be like, well, as long as my dress is made, I don't even know where the fabric came from.
No, because it starts from somewhere. It starts from the manufacturers of the fabric, the textile companies. It also goes to the manufacturers of the thread, the cotton that we use, the manufacturers of the machines that we use. It goes to also paying for your utilities, your electricity. It goes to infrastructure, you need somewhere to work. And it also goes to employment. You have people who assist you in your work. So it's a big business because it tackles very specific and a lot of industries.
Okay. When the show just started, our first, conversation was with the new minister of, the SME, which, has got so many policies. So in regards to policy direction for you as a fashion designer, how do you think the creative industry can tap into that ministry? What are some of the policy directions you think they should take to make sure that there's maximizing on both ends, the ministry as well as you, the creatives, in regards to fashion industry?
Judy, it's very interesting that my generation is full of creatives. And a lot of people are now taking a lot of creative as business and work. So for our new minister of the SMEs, basically I would say emphasis on registration of businesses. That is something that doesn't happen. Whether you are an artist, you draw on canvas, or you make clothes like myself, emphasis should be done on registration of businesses as well as taxation. We should have knowledge on bookkeeping, accounting, how to file taxes, and then also encourage banks as well as small financial institutions to have more flexible terms when it comes to loaning money to us. Okay. You can't say, I want to get 100,000, but you're asking me to pay back almost 50% of a loan with a small business. It's impossible, and I get discouraged. Okay. So a lot of policies in finance as well as just a groundbreaking business registration for me should be emphasized.
All right. The other part is on your clientele end. There's this notion that fashion designers, I won't mention the other two trades or three trades that have got an issue with, Kasongo, I've got this beautiful event that I want this beautiful dress. Are you going to deliver? What is this? Is it going to come out like this? The issue of confidence in fashion designers from the clients.
Yes, that's a very big issue, and I still face it up to today. A lot of clients ask me, will my dress be ready on time? Will it come out the way it is? But that's because I would say they have PTSD from working with other people who are unreliable. So for me personally, I always try to stick in my time frame. And if I have too much work, I do advise my clients saying, look, I've got too much work. I don't think I'll deliver by this date, but maybe a day or two after. And then if it's a very complicated design, I'm very honest with myself. If it's too complicated and it needs a lot of work, I do express that this design is too complicated, need a lot of work. Or there are some things that I can do as a fashion designer now that I'm still learning. I would recommend to a friend who can actually do them so that I don't have a problem with my client saying, oh no, but I wanted this and it came out the wrong way. I feel as fashion designers, we need to be very honest with our skills and how far we can go, and be honest with our time frame with our clients.
Okay, being the creative industry myself and issues of interaction with so many creatives, there's that blur line where you think, well, I'm passionate about this, I can be self-taught. When it comes to the issue of training, your 2 cents on that, and of course how this training can also be fused into the issue of having a total package of business acumen also, because you carry these, then you become a total package when you're out there as a fashion designer. You've got your business sorted and you've got your passion sorted as well.
Yes, that's true, because as a fashion designer and as any creative, we're learning as we go. Trends are changing, technology is changing, we're learning as we go. So the skill is very important. Learning is very important. Learning your skill, mastering your skill is important, as well as mastering the business aspect is very important. Mastering your marketing, knowing your clientele, doing your market research, all that is very important combined with the skill, and they go hand in hand.
Wow. Well, when you talk about finances, most entrepreneurs are talking about finances. Is this an issue with you guys as well? Are you accessing it easily?
No, it's not easy to access it, but I had a sit down with one of the MDs for a certain bank. And I said, why aren't you open to giving us small businesses loans? It's very difficult. He said, because you don't have proper registration of your businesses.
Wow, this conversation can really go on, I know. So I appreciate you coming through.
Thank you.
And you've got lovely hands. Your work is amazing.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you coming through.
Okay.
Let's get into our take on innovation. Tech and innovation is in every sector of our economy. This time I take you to the motor car industry. We did go to a press briefing where Nissan Zambia was actually introducing the new Magnite. They're saying it's coming from Magnite and it's going to have this conversation that's going to have everyone talking in regards to the effect that it has. But I did get an exclusive with their MD in regards to how green compliant are they? How is Nissan Zambia actually making sure that the climate change is also a priority in some of their policies? How green are they?
We're very much driven by green energy. Our fundamentals are around that. For example, in our own house here in the dealerships, we have a couple of tanks that capture the rainwater, and that water is recycled into our water system. So we're economizing on that. Previously, we used to have plastic seat covers. Now we're going green and we're getting cotton seat covers. Then, of course, we have the Nissan Leaf, which is an electrical car, and all these are rolling out in the next few years. And of course, Zambia is heading. Zambia is the first world country. That's my belief. And of course, we deserve those initiatives as well in Zambia. So yes, we have all those things rolling out soon. 90% of the dealers in South Africa are owned by us. We're in Brazil and America as well. It's all about the Nissan Magnite. It's a small SUV, compact, with a lot of features and very affordable for all Zambians, from our mothers to our grannies to our sons to our daughters. This is a beautiful SUV. We've looked at the market, we've studied the market, and
the budget presentation will be done anytime soon. What does ACCA think about this, and what are their ideas when it comes to economic recovery for a country which seems to be in a transition period?
In terms of economic policy direction, we need to be in line with the SDGs. I think I can't overstate the importance of that, because that gives us a clear roadmap of where we want to go. And I know that our president has a roadmap as well in regards to how Zambia transforms into an economy that is growing and that will be sustainable. One of the things that we're looking at as ACCA for us, we would like to see conversations around debt restructuring. Right now we're hearing a lot of conversations around how big our debt is. So let's have transparency around that. How do we then dismantle that debt? A clear plan needs to be put in place, and that plan there needs to be points where progress updates are shared, so that then if there's any deviation from that plan, or if any challenges arise, the stakeholders are able to step in and assist. The other thing that we're looking at is tax reforms. We need to broaden our tax base. We need to ensure that conversations, especially around in the mines, we start looking at taxes in that arena. So we as ACCA, our members are sitting in various industries and they've got various specialities. A lot of our members are tax experts. As ACCA, in June we actually set up what we call the Africa Advocacy Program, which has a number of people sitting in 3 committees. And those committees include finance and business, edutech, and talent development. One of the biggest things for us, and we also have a pillar under SMEs.
All right, that is a wrap. Thank you so much for having part of our conversation here on Strictly Business. Join us next week again on Tuesday at 18 for more information on business.